Okay, sounds great. So, hello everybody. Welcome to our second exclusive site coordinator training. And today we're going to be focusing in on like the gear and merchandise handling, which I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with, as we ship a lot of boxes to a lot of different places. But yeah, so it's great to see all of you. Great to see all your beautiful faces. And before we get started with some celebrations, I want to just introduce Sam. So Sam does so many things for PGC. She does the gear, she does playmakers, she does things that I probably don't even know about, but she has tons of knowledge as far as PGC goes, and her and Amber, as long as the rest of the set are just going to be leading you through this call. So please remember to stay on mute unless you have a question, and to also just ask a lot of questions. And yeah, so if you have any celebrations, please go ahead.
I'll start us off. I celebrate our directors and all the work that they're doing in order to lead everyone this summer, and just how much they've invested themselves over this past year to improve themselves for this summer in the session. So big shout out to them as we're getting ready in about 2 weeks to start the big show.
I celebrate Sam. It's been fun kind of just going through this gear and merchandise training with her, and appreciate just her efforts in making sure that set and what we do with gear are all on the same page so that we can best explain it to you guys. So I think we'll have a great meeting tonight. So thanks, Sam.
Hey Jasmine.
Hey,
How's
how
it
are you?
going? No worries. We are just in celebration, so thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Alrighty, well, if we're done with celebrations, Amber, take us away.
All right, awesome. Looks like we have a few more people here than last time, so that makes it a little bit more exciting. Monisha, Jasmine, Alexa, and Hunter. Appreciate you guys all being on this call. Um, Again, we hope that it's beneficial for you as we speak to different areas that you will oversee when you're at a session as a site coordinator. And this or tonight's goal is for you guys to better understand gear and merchandise, and through that, just understanding the precision that's needed for inventory count on gear, as well as then kind of the finalizing of inventory and shipping it out. Hopefully you all can see my PowerPoint, and I'm hoping that it will continue to cooperate. But what we'll be kind of diving into are the different types of topics. Will be printing and the FedEx account, inventory, which is going to be a key, the sales of gear and merchandise, checkout and final inventory, and then shipping that gear out from FedEx. So hopefully we will explain it clearly and then be able to ask any questions as we go along. But I did want to, I love my videos, my inspiration things, as you saw last time. So I want to just do one little video, and it's actually not even going to be a video that you're going to watch. You're just going to listen to this video. It is a little long. It's about 4.5, 5 minutes, but it's one that Melanie and Andre and Sam really enjoyed, so we're gonna share it with you guys. And again, just more thinking about how we shape sessions. And this video kind of brings about all the words, but I'd say for sure approach and just how you're approaching each of your sessions as a site coordinator. So just listen and start to really gear up for this training session as we start up.
There once was a man with a dream so deep within him that he breathed it, he spoke it, and he lived it. And one day a blindfold was placed over his eyes and he was led to a massive tree. When he took his blindfold off, he stood face to face with unexpected instructions. The first man to cut down their tree will be given their dream. This man would develop a strategy. He would eye one spot and repeatedly strike that same spot with his axe. He would never miss his mark. He would be meticulous, and little by little, chunks came out and progress was made. But as time went on, his hands became bloody. They were split open, blistered. He was in pain. He was tired. But in the distance, he could hear that his competitor was still swinging. He looked at the damage of his own tree, and it seemed to be so little, but the sounds of his competitor seemed as motivated as ever. He would rest, and he could hear his competitor's axe swinging. When he stopped to sharpen his axe, his competitor was swinging. Even when he took a moment to catch his breath, he could hear his competitor in the distance, strike after strike against the tree. And for hours this continued until the man heard the worst sound of his life. The sound of a tree. His dream came smashing to the ground in the distance. He had lost. And as he drew near to the fallen tree, he saw his competitor for the first time. He was no bigger than he was. He was no stronger than he was. And as expected, he was completely exhausted, completely drained. His hands were bloody. There were dry tears and dirt on his face. But what he saw next caused his stomach to drop. The champion reached up to his face and removed his blindfold. The man was stunned. He demanded that the champion explain himself. Why are you wearing a blindfold? And the champion began to explain that the more he saw his results, the more he would lose hope. But when he put the blindfold back on, when he could no longer see the chunks, the chips, and the dents he made, his faith only grew stronger. Every swing, he just knew he had to be getting closer. And when his body wanted to stop, he couldn't stop because his gut told him that the tree was going to fall at any moment. Listen, don't get this wrong. You've heard it said that you need to want to succeed as badly as you need to breathe, and that is amazing imagery. But as the man learned when chopping away at the tree, the secret to success isn't just who wants it more. Don't be fooled. Success is not just taking it one step at a time. It is not just brick by brick. And success is not like chopping down a tree one chop at a time. It's doing it blindfolded. Listen, you don't always have the luxury to see results. You don't always have the opportunity to see the dents, the chips, and the chunks coming out of your tree. So often, all you can do is swing and hope and believe. If you want to succeed, then you must choose to be blind. You need to understand this. Choosing to be blind is a decision to not have to see, to not even desire to see, and to be able to completely ignore the results while you're in the fight. That is faith. It's making a choice to become blind. It's a choice to remain in the darkness, to be comfortable with the unknown and focus on the process. A person with sight might become afraid of the dark. A person with sight might grow discouraged when dark times come, but a blind man never wavers when darkness comes upon him. Neither the light nor the darkness can impact his state of mind. Those who fight and scrape to see during their struggles will never have the energy or the focus they need to succeed. They'll never swing long enough for their tree to fall. Any person who can see with their eyes. But the great ones forfeit their eyes and see with their mind. The great ones make the choice to be blind for life.
I don't know about you, but that gives me chills. Oops, sorry about that. But I think just challenging you guys as we are about to start moving into the summer. Everything is going to become heightened, and obviously your jobs as site coordinators are a valuable part of creating a successful session. And there is going to be a lot of multitasking on your plate and a lot of little things that need to get accomplished. But just reminding yourself too that to have fun through the process, to grow through the process as you experience sessions, with each session that you do, taking into account what you've learned and then applying it for the next session. Even Melanie and I were just talking about just the fear of failure and not getting something done right or on time or messing up. And we understand that we're human, those things are going to happen, but we also have a support team. You have a set person that's going to be there to support you. You have those at the session, your director, your AD, and basket instructors that are there to support you. So just encouraging yourself to keep pressing forward, and that you're not by yourself in this. And through it all, just take one step at a time and enjoy the process of growing and learning, and also just enjoying the PGC session, because obviously that's why all of you are site coordinators. You enjoy PGC, you enjoy how it's impacted your life. So don't forget those things as you're diving into the craziness of the week. So Hunter, I'm gonna put you on the spot if that's okay. I know I didn't give you a heads up, but just curious if you could share with me what you know about gear and merchandise in a summer. You don't have to give me every little detail, but just kind of an overview of what you know about it or what you remember about it.
I guess one of the biggest things that I remember over and over was that from the beginning, if you don't get it right, it makes it very hard to get it right at the end. And regardless of who is counting what, it ultimately falls back on you. And so for me to have, explain what we need to do as best as I can at the beginning makes it a lot easier to have the correct numbers and the correct things when shipping it out. That's one of the biggest things that I like to do, is make sure it starts out on a good foot, a good note, that everything's accounted for at the beginning, so that when we go through the week, it's a lot easier, and if something messes up, then it's not as hard to fix. So yeah, that's definitely something that I learned going throughout the summer. But it can be kind of fun. If you have it organized well enough and you know kind of what's going on, then I think it's not too bad.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Some good insight there. Jasmine and Monisha, how experienced are you guys with gear and merchandise?
My experience is counting it and telling Hunter during the session. So that's about as much experience as I have with gear and merchandise.
Okay, awesome. That's a start. What about you, Monisha?
Well, I did site coordinating over the summer for the summer session, for the winter session. So I usually count and try to make sure I have a paper or my computer right with me, so I can make sure I write down every amount that we have of each thing, and at the end where I know, so I can know how much we sold, and pretty much getting all that information back to Melanie within a reasonable time.
Awesome. Okay, so this will be good for us. And I apologize, my PowerPoint died here. My computer does not like Google Hangouts, so for now I'm just gonna have to walk you guys through without a visual, but hopefully I can explain everything well enough. So one of the first things I just want to share real quick is printing. This doesn't necessarily have to do per se with gear and merchandise, but those of you who have been site coordinators before, you know that there are a lot of supplemental forms that we need printed out for our sessions, as well as obviously the roster for check-in, the rooming list, things like that. And I think the biggest thing we want to, well, actually, so there are two ways you can print. You can either obviously utilize the forms that your set coordinator gives you and print off that way, print off from the SC training website, where Andre's done a great job of creating a page where you would need all of your papers, or all the papers needed that needs to be printed. You could go to the training website to find that. You can also, though, go into the FedEx office account, which is in this gear and handling PowerPoint. It's at the end of the PowerPoint. It'll share what the link is and the username and password for you to get in so that you can grab all those documents to print. But what we want to stress and really make sure that you hear is put your owner's goggles on as to how much you need to print. One, just to let you know, we now have an amazing database where all of our campers are registering and doing all of their supplemental forms on there. So yes, there are still going to be campers that are going to need to fill out supplemental forms because they will not have done it on their registration kind of login page on the website. However, we don't want you printing off, 150 of each of these forms. Try to estimate, depending on the session numbers, what you think a good amount of forms would be. The less paper we can be using, because obviously it's cost effective, saves us money. We really want to be smart in what we print off. Obviously, there's always ways to go back and print more if need be, but I know a lot of us don't want to necessarily be taking more time to print off more copies. We want to just have them there accordingly. You may, some of you who are working anywhere from 4 to 8, 9, 10 sessions, obviously I would say as each session that you go to, you should start to have a better handle as to what forms you need and how many you need. So again, this is where we're saying put your owner's goggles on and try to best understand what you need to do in regards to printing. I think I explained myself well enough there. The next thing is going to be inventory. And this is probably what we're going to drive home the most while we're in this meeting. So really get your ears tuned. If you need to take notes just to help you remember, please do so. Also know that the gear handling PowerPoint and the training website are key places to go if you need to remember things as we go along here. But first thing is we want you to download the SquareUp app, and hopefully you've done that on your phone. I'm going to make the assumption that you all have a smartphone and can download that app. Within that SquareUp app, one of the first things that again we want to make clear, and I believe I mentioned this last week, but that you are logging into the correct director's account. So each week, each session that you work, you're going to get an email from your set coordinator who's going to tell you the SquareUp login information for that session. So I maybe was at Texas Women's University this past week, and Melanie emailed me SquareUp information for Graham Maxwell. So I logged in there. When that session is over, I need to make sure I've logged off of that SquareUp account, because now this next week I'm going to Benedictine And Marquis Freeman is the new director, and Melanie has emailed me different and new information to sign into SquareUp to utilize her account. So that's a key component in SquareUp as far as making sure we are logging into the correct director. And I also mentioned last week, it may not be you and your phone that is being used for store sales in the SquareUp account. It may be a basket instructor who you've kind of created as store manager. So you need to be very clear and concise with, you know, the information that they need to sign into, because you never know, either that basket instructor maybe was used as the store manager last week at a session, and if they didn't log off, they're going to use that same account, and it might not be that account that should be used. So again, make sure you're communicating what SquareUp account that is. The other thing that's on this PowerPoint that I want to stress, it's a new thing that you maybe didn't know about SquareUp, but you can create a unique name for your mobile device for that SquareUp. So I would challenge you, when it comes up to, you can go to settings and create a device name. Please do that. That's another way that will help us track the merchandise that's being accounted for, just in case there are any mishaps. So name that device name with your name, which would be the site coordinator's name, and then the camp session. So again, this is on the PowerPoint that you can take a look at after this training session. That's part of your homework, is to just review that PowerPoint. So since my computer is not behaving and I can't show you the PowerPoint, I would just challenge you to do that. Any questions with SquareUp, just that initial starting up? Does that make sense?
Before you guys answer the questions, just to note, Mel is sharing her screen with the PowerPoint, just in case you're not aware. So if you want to see the PowerPoint, you can go to Melanie's screen.
Awesome. Thanks, Mel. Appreciate it. All right, doesn't seem like we have any questions. So inventory details, once we've got SquareUp going. Counting inventory is honestly the key to successful gear and merchandise. There are a few keys, but this is vital for Sam's insanity. But also it's just vital for the success of a session as gear continues to travel. So Monisha, you shared that you've done fall sessions with gear. That gear is a lot smaller than what you're going to see at a summer session. So the precision and making sure you're taking your time to get proper inventory is really going to be an important aspect of gear and merchandise. One of the things I want to stress too is this year we had a lot of extra inventory sitting in our storage, in our warehouse, so to speak, last year. So what Sam and her team has done has actually condensed the apparel orders for this year, so that we can get rid of more of our gear and merchandise and not have a lot of inventory just sitting in the warehouse. So again, this is why we are stressing the importance of inventory, because every piece of gear and merchandise counts, because there's almost a smaller amount that's going to be out there than last year, but in hopes that we have less coming in at the end. So again, hopefully you understand that. So with counting inventory, most of you who have been site coordinators before, we count inventory on day 0 and day 5. However, we are now counting inventory also on day 3. So you will be counting inventory 3 times in a week. We understand this is another 30-45 minutes of task, but we feel that, again, it's a vital and important part to make sure that we are meticulous in our gear and merchandise. So with day 0, that's the day that you will be uploading all the inventory into SquareUp. That is the one time you will be uploading inventory onto SquareUp. So it will be by item and by size. And on SquareUp, make sure you scroll all the way through to find the gear. I promise you that gear is in there. If you're saying, I don't see it, it's in there. Check again. So just be aware that not to just give up too quickly that it's not in there. I know there's a lot of gear to scroll through on SquareUp, but I promise you it is there. So again, within even obviously inventory, those of you who are new site coordinators, this is where you recruit basket instructors. This is where you kind of take the lead. You use your communication skills to manage others to help you finalize this inventory and getting precision within it. So day 0 is SquareUp. Then what's going to happen is on day 3, you're going to utilize an Excel file Sam has created, and on the PowerPoint you can find that Excel file to download, and that Excel file is just going to be, again, a way for you to track inventory after day 3. So once your day 3 night sales are over, you're going to do inventory again. You're going to jot it down on the Excel file, and then from there you just match it up and make sure that the SquareUp inventory is the same as your Excel file. Then on day 5, you will do the same thing. You will do an Excel file for day 5. Before you pack everything up, you will make sure that it matches with SquareUp inventory as well. If there's any reason that there is a difference from your Excel file inventory to your SquareUp inventory, 1, I would challenge you to recount whatever difference there is and double check your work then. 2, if you still are getting the same number, then you need to update the number you are getting on your Excel file into SquareUp. So if SquareUp says you have 4 orange shirts left, but your Excel file you've triple checked and you only have 3 orange shirts left, then you need to update that in SquareUp as having 3 orange shirts left. Does that make sense? Any questions? We're good so far, it seems like. And Sam, if you need to chime in, let me know. On day 5, that Excel file that you finalize and make sure is correct with SquareUp, you are going to then send that Excel file after day 5 inventory to Sam. And again, this is on the PowerPoint if you do not remember the steps. Sam then will be confident that the SquareUp account is the same as your Excel file, and she will now know how to move forward with what gear she needs to send to the next session within the apparel that you already still have. Okay? Kind of going back to just the gear and merchandise sales of SquareUp, can anybody tell me, this was a question last week, so I'm going to ask the question again. So this is for Monisha, Hunter, Jasmine, or Alexa, and I prefer Alexa not to answer because she is probably the most accurate or most veteran person. So what sales do you include in SquareUp? Do you include cash or credit card or check sales into SquareUp? Who would like to answer before I call on you?
Can you say that again?
When somebody buys gear and merchandise, when is it inputted into SquareUp? When it's a cash, check, or credit card sale?
All of them, right?
Oh, Hunter, winner. Hunter, it was kind of a trick question, so you did get it right. That is correct. Ding, ding, ding. Please remember to tell your store manager or whomever is running the Square Up for transactions. Remember that all transactions are inputted into Square Up, whether it's a cash, check, or a credit card. I think oftentimes the credit card is the easy transaction to take care of because you're using the e-reader and it goes right into the phone to the Square Up system. But however, cash and check also need to be inputted into Square Up, those transactions. Any questions so far?
I do not have a question, but since PGC is committed to a healthy lifestyle, I think we should all do 10 jumping jacks. Alexa, you can do whatever you want to do.
I like the idea, Mel. Oh. Plus, they don't want to keep hearing my voice. That's a good break.
Stretch it out. Do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, please stand if you would like to while you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
And please chime in. I don't want this to just always be me chatting. As we move forward, if there is an item not in stock, so you know, somebody wants black shorts, they saw their friend buy them on day 3, but by day 5 when they come to get black shorts, there are no black shorts. Or there are black shorts, but we don't have their size. That is okay. We can still get them the order that they desire. So what you'll want to do, excuse me, is what you're going to do is you're going to take down the name of either the parent or the athlete. It doesn't matter, just as long as it's going to the same address. But then the full name of the parent or athlete, so first and last name, the full address of where they want it shipped, the item and the size that they want shipped to them, and then you will still have them pay for that merchandise right there and then. So again, if they wanted black shorts, the shorts are $40. They're gonna pay for the shorts right there, and you're still gonna make that transaction. So whether it's cash, check, or credit card, you are gonna input that into Square Up, even though you don't actually have the item to give them. When you take down that information, you then need to email Sam, letting her know the information you just took down, the full name, the full address, the item and size, and then confirming that they paid, and then she will take care of making sure that gear is shipped to them. Questions? We're good. Awesome. You guys are following. You're quick learners. I like it. All right. So we've talked about inventory. Ooh, I'll ask this question. And Monisha, I'm going to put you on the spot. When do we take inventory again?
Day 0, 3, and 5.
You got it, girl. Love it. So day 0, day 3, and 5. After day 5, you will send that Excel file to Samantha. Kind of transitioning for a second here, and we're going to talk about welcome kits and pre-ordered items. So pre-ordered items, the only thing that is pre-ordered for this year is going to be the book stuff. So that is the only pre-ordered item that campers were able to pre-order. And then we have our welcome kits, and the reason you need to know welcome kits is for t-shirt size, along with obviously all the other merchandise that goes along with the welcome kit. So on the PowerPoint, again, as you review after this training session, you will be able to see what the file will look like that our SEC coordinator will send to the site coordinator as to who gets stuff. So there will be a list, a name of all the people who are receiving the book stuff. There will be a list of all the names of people who get welcome kit, and they will be sorted by t-shirt size. So all small t-shirts, there will be names under there. Then all medium t-shirts, there will be names under there. So the biggest thing you need to be aware of is when you receive the roster along with like the welcome kit tab and the pre-ordered item tab, you need to make sure that you print out enough for the check-in table, because the check-in table will tell, like, let's say Sam goes up to the check-in table and says, I'm Sam. They check her in, and they're gonna see, oh, Sam, you ordered a welcome kit. You also pre-ordered stuff. Make sure you go to, if she ordered a welcome kit, you'll say, make sure you head down to that table where you'll receive your welcome kit. And there will obviously be a separate table for welcome kits. When Sam goes to the welcome kit table, they'll say, what's your name? Samantha. Oh yes, I see you ordered a welcome kit. You're a size medium shirt, and they'll make sure to get her welcome kit. If Sam checks in and, oh, you pre-ordered stuff, please make sure you go to the store sales, and that's where you'll pick up your book. So the welcome kit table needs to obviously have a copy of the welcome kit document, and then the store sales need to have a copy of the pre-ordered item document so that they can check off who is receiving what. Hopefully that made sense. Any questions? One thing to note, if you don't know what a welcome kit is, that is also in the PowerPoint, but it's 2 pens, a lanyard, a water bottle, a notebook, an orange tour shirt, a cinch bag, and then a t-shirt. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. Sorry. And a cinch bag. One thing to note, just to kind of put in the back of your brain, we have the old cinch bags that you may have seen probably in past. However, those are not in stock anymore, and so we had to order new cinch bags. However, you're going to see the old cinch bags initially, but if you start to be towards the end of the summer, you may start to see these new cinch bags within the welcome kit. Just please make sure we're utilizing all the old cinch bags first before we start giving out the new cinch bags. So just a small side note, nothing to get yourself too worried about. Yes, look at that. Is that Alexa showing the old cinch bag? Thank you. That's the old cinch bag. I'm not sure what the new cinch bag looks like.
It has a mesh front, so it's a better quality one. It has a mesh front, and it obviously has a back, and it has a zipper on the side, like a little zipper pocket as well. So still has the logo, but the logo you can kind of see in the inside. So
just a little bit different style.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any questions before I keep moving forward? Awesome. You guys are a great audience. I appreciate your fine listening skills. Now we're going to kind of just go back to the last day. We've completed all of our gear and merchandise. We've handed out our welcome kits, our pre-ordered items. We've hopefully sold a lot of gear from our store sales. Now we need to begin the packing process. We just want to challenge you, when you initially go to receive your gear and you begin your inventory count, be, so to speak, respectful of the boxes. Give them some TLC, give them some tender love and care. They have not been rude to you, so be kind to them, because we need to try to utilize them for as long as possible. We need them to last. We do not want to be buying new boxes for the gear to be sent to the next facility every session. So the more that we can take care of them from the start when we receive it, know where they need to be put in a manner that they will be taken care of. And then obviously at the end of the session, when you're packing them back up, just to be gentle with them. Don't chuck them all around. Don't just, again, and part of it too is how you pack the gear and merchandise. So we challenge you to put like things together, and don't just plop it all in there and chuck it all in there, so to speak. Take some pride in how you pack these boxes, so that the next site coordinator, in a sense, has an easier job. All the mediums are, in a sense, stacked, and then all the larges are stacked, and then all the XLs are stacked. Even that is going to just help them, instead of just throwing all the black shirts in together, but they're not really in order. That just takes more time for the next person too. So be meticulous in that way, be helpful in that way for where the gear is going next. But try to pack the boxes as full as possible. And that's why it's important to try to put like things together so that the space is being filled, and everything's staying with each other. Once you're packed, the set coordinator will have communicated through an email of where you need to ship the boxes to next. Especially right now at the beginning to middle of sessions, you're going to probably find yourself shipping the gear to another facility site. So if you were at Oklahoma State here at the beginning, you may then find yourself sending it to, I don't know what's next, Austin College. And then from Austin College, you may be sending it to TWU. There are going to be times where we do have facility sites where we utilize them more than once. And often when we utilize them more than once, they are back-to-back sessions. So in that regards, you may be working the first week of a TWU session, not working the second week, but you have kind of an easier job because that gear is probably going to stay there for the second week. So just be aware of where you're sending this gear to. And again, your set coordinator should be communicating where to ship to. This is another kind of, make sure you note this in your head, and it's going to be hard because it's probably not going to be till middle end of the summer that you're going to start to see this. But if you are going to be sending the gear and merchandise not to a facility, but to actually UFSI, and UFSI is where we store our gear, it's like our warehouse, then there needs to be some extra action steps. What needs to happen is Sam has created an inventory sheet, and again, that's on the PowerPoint where you can click and find that sheet. I'm not sure, Andre, if you've gotten that into the documents to print yet, but we can make sure to do that. But this UFSI inventory sheet is a key component because each box that has gear or merchandise packed in it needs to have its own inventory sheet. So if you take a box and you've filled it with black shirts and orange sweatshirts, there needs to be a piece of paper on the top of that box, like in that box, stating the size and item of how many black shirts there are, how many orange shirts there are for each size. Put it in that box before you tape it up. Then the next box you pack, there maybe there's some more orange sweatshirts that you put in, but then there's also some shorts and some socks. Then whatever's in that box needs to have the inventory sheet accounted for with what's in that box. So each box needs to have its own inventory sheet with what's in that box. Am I making myself clear? Questions? Okay, because that is a huge component that I think kind of got lost in past, where sometimes we were only including one sheet with everything, and then other boxes were just coming without a sheet, so we didn't know where it was coming from. So again, this is a big organization. We need to be as meticulous as possible, making sure we're helping know, what needs to be tracked and tracking it the right way, so that it's just a lot more easier for each person that has their hands in it. Okay. So once everything's packed, we got the inventory sheets if need be. You will then find the closest FedEx around the facility, take those boxes to that location, and use the account number to send off all that gear and merchandise. Once you have done that, and let me note, this must be done before you leave the session. Okay, so again, this is another thing where as a site coordinator, a lot of what you're doing is a lot of little things constantly, but you also constantly need to have a plan. And that's why on our training website, we've created a checklist for kind of what you need to be ready for on day 0, what you need to be ready for day 1, day 2, day 3. So in that checklist, I'm not sure what day it is, but maybe on day 3, we're telling you, hey, make sure you know where the FedEx store is, and make sure you can get there in plenty of time, get all the gear there before your flight flies out or before you travel back. Any questions on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I add something?
Oh, go ahead, Alexa.
Make sure, I know in the beginning I thought I could be superhero and do it all myself. So make sure, like before everyone leaves, that you ask them to help you take the boxes to FedEx. It just makes it easier on you, and you're not doing it all by yourself. So kind of divvying that up to your package.
Alexa, that's a great point. Would you mind speaking a little bit to more in regards to, as a site coordinator, how important it is to, what's the right word?
Delegate?
What's that?
Delegate?
Yes, thank you.
Delegate,
Not
yeah.
even just regards to gear and merchandise, but just can you share in general how important that is? Because you do have a lot of tasks on your plate. And in a sense, you can't be superhero. You need help,
Yeah, so,
and you need to be a leader. So can you just share a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So like I said in the beginning, I was really, really bad at the whole delegating thing, which put a lot more on your plate and kind of made everything less organized, I would say. But if you're able to delegate things for other people to do, it makes it a lot easier. So you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off, to put it bluntly. But I think if you are able to delegate, like that was one of the things that I would always want to grow on all my sessions, was being able to, okay, I'm going to give out 3 things to do today. So give yourself a number of, I'm going to tell 2 people to do something. And you might think that you could do it all, but in the beginning of the summer, but then towards the end of the summer, you don't want to burn out.
What were your fears to not want to delegate or not wanting to ask people, and how did you overcome them to get to the point that, okay, I'm delegating?
My fear was that it wouldn't get done the way that I wanted, or that PGC wanted. So just explaining it, even though if you think that they understand it, if maybe it's their 4th session, they probably haven't done it yet. So just making sure you explain everything, and then you're comfortable with them doing it, it makes it a lot easier to delegate.
Good stuff. Appreciate that. Just to open it up again, and I know we have some more newbies and some veterans, but either share what mistakes you've learned from that have made you better at gear and merchandise, or even some best practices that you've seen for greater success. And I'll even let Mel and Sam, Andre, go ahead and chime in if you'd like to.
I'll go first. I would say the biggest one for me is just getting the gear done as soon as possible on that day 0. If you can get it done before the evening meeting, you just feel a lot better starting out the week, not like being super tired or being rushed. So that would be a huge best practice, and just giving yourself enough time to do it. And I know that's not always possible with flights, but if it is possible, definitely take advantage of doing it as soon as you can and getting everyone on your team involved.
Hunter, I'm going to put you on the spot again. You got anything? Mistakes or best practices?
I have to agree with Alexa that it's hard to not want to do it yourself, not want to do all of it yourself, because then you know it's done the way you wanted. But I definitely think some things I learned, especially from, oh my goodness, I just went blank. Crud. Anyways, something I learned was to divide up each item, such as like all the shorts go to one person, or all the shirts go to somebody, or things like that. It definitely makes it easier, and you just go faster. And I remember at TWU one session that we had the whole room kind of spread out, and I just went by each person and got their numbers from each person, which made it easier because we had each thing set out, so that definitely helps to spread it out.
Yeah, that's a great point too.
I think for me in the past, a mistake that I did when I was a site coordinator is when I made a mistake, or when something wasn't done with the level of precision that was expected, I didn't communicate right away. So maybe reaching out, someone had to reach out to me at the end of the session, and we had to backtrack, but you didn't really send an email saying, hey, I didn't send an email saying, hey, Sarah, this is what happened at the session. You might have less numbers for this, and this is the reason why. So just making sure that I communicated afterwards when it came to the amount of gear. And, I think we'll do a better job with that this year because of those tracking sheets. But if there is a reason why something doesn't add up, just reach out. It's okay. Understand. But it's better to catch it sooner rather than later for me, especially with moving forward. So
That's good, Sam. I just have one more thing that I thought of. When you are communicating with your conference services contact, I would say best practice is just asking where the gear is. There are times where they don't know where the gear is just because they don't get it from the mailman, or they don't get it from whoever drops it off. So communicating with them before day 0, can you put it in, this dorm room? And that's where your set coordinator will help you as well. But just having that open communication about where it is, so you're not left with running around looking for gear, which I've known to do a couple times there. So.
And Mel or Sam, would you be willing to also, I meant to talk on this in regards to, for some reason the gear doesn't arrive on time, kind of how do you go about that process? Sam's already like, no, don't let that happen.
Well, I was gonna say, if the gear doesn't arrive on time, it may be due to me because I'm the one shipping it out. But no, I don't know, Melanie, you want to speak to this one? Because I mean, the only thing that I would be able to say if the gear doesn't arrive on time is we'll have the tracking number. So the first thing is to do is just to look through the tracking and figure out where it's at. And then what would you have them do from there, because it's probably on a truck sitting.
Right, yeah. So the show must go on. If we don't have a store and there's welcome kits that will need to be packed up, we'll give them to them as soon as the gear gets there. So whether that's on day 2 or day 3, I know that's happened at a couple of Hunter sessions where we didn't have gear, And we just make it work. Not ideal. We might not have a store with as many items, or we might not have this or that. But at that point, there's nothing we can do. Do 2 claps, and we take on the session. And again, you'll work with your set coordinator when those problems arrive, or opportunities. Let's call them that. And we'll go from there.
And I think Mel or Sam, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think those are the opportunities where you really need to find yourself then delegating and asking for help, because once that gear does get there, it is throwing you off because it's not, there's not the time frame that you have on day 0 to kind of get it all ready and sorted. So making you sure you have that extra help to get it processed, done as efficiently, but as meticulous and precise as possible.
Absolutely, yep.
I just wanted to add one more thing, Amber.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the welcome kits, I know last year I kind of ran into the problem of athletes not receiving their welcome kits. So make sure whoever's in charge of your store, whoever's in charge of the welcome kits, they're being pretty precise about who's getting a welcome kit, making sure that person does get their welcome kit, just so we avoid 100 people calling into the playmakers saying, my son didn't get his welcome kit, we paid for it, why doesn't he have it? I think it'd be good kind of just, day 0, I put aside all the welcome kits and put the size kind of like small, medium, large kind of on the tag. I don't know if there'll be tags on the new bags or not, but that's kind of what I do on day 0 just to get ahead of the game.
Yeah, good stressor point, Alexa. Any further questions or statements?
I do have one thing. So you'll get the gear, which will be in the big boxes, which you've all seen, and then there'll also be a small box. This small box will be labeled the Seabridge box, and unfortunately, this box doesn't come with the rest of our gear. So at times it gets lost, or our conference services contact, it doesn't look like it belongs. So it might be sent back to FedEx, or it might be put somewhere else. This is just from a different company, and it has our alumni rewards, it has some certificates, some other pieces in there directly for our session. So this box will be different. You'll get reminded by your set person that find this box, like you need this box. Your director will be asking you where the box is. So again, on our side, on the set, we'll remind you to find the box. We'll send an email to the conference services. Oh, is there a small box that you've seen? To just keep that on your radar, that there is a different size box that's smaller. It says Seabridge on the top of it, and that will have all of your packets and paperwork that you need for this session that you aren't printing off yourself. So just a reminder there, as it is a little bit different and harder to find than our regular large gear boxes.
Yeah, thank you, Mel. I'm glad you mentioned that. Any questions in regards to that Seabridge box? Okay. Well, I appreciate your time and coming on this call again just for our training session. We hope that it was beneficial learnings for you. Some of you maybe more reminders than anything, but your homework for this week is to review the Gear and Merchandise PowerPoint, as well as look through the UFSI Gear Return Inventory document, which that's the document that if your gear is being sent to UFSI, which is like our warehouse, how there needs to be an inventory sheet in each box. So those are kind of just your 2 homework assignments to review. And then we challenge you that you need to have a call with your SC training group to review kind of what has been discussed thus far. Share any learnings you've had that maybe you didn't share on the call, ask any questions, and just make sure all of you are on the same page, because know that each of you are a support system for one another too. And though us as set coordinators are here to help you, to problem solve with you, to support you and coach you at your sessions, you all are great teammates as well to do the same. So that's why we've created these training groups. Next week at this time again, Tuesday, 4:30 Central Time, 5:30 Eastern Time, and anywhere else you are, we will be having our last training session, and Andre will be taking the lead on that one, so you don't have to listen to my voice. Any further questions or anything?
Thank you
Awesome.
guys. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.